Namaste. This is Yoga Therapy Podcast, and I'm your host, Shira Khan, yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and Ayurvedic wellness educator. In these conversations with experts in the field of yoga therapy, you'll find out what it is and how it can help you and your loved ones to reclaim well-being. We'll touch on physical as well as mental health, physiology, emotions, women's health, spiritual well-being, goddesses, and self-development in the fullest sense. Listening to another story can change ours, so thank you for showing up, and let's begin this journey together. Hello everyone. Today we're joined with Alla Kozyreva. She is a yoga teacher, a life coach, and Ayurvedic yoga therapist. Welcome.
Thank you, Shira. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So today, I think I'm going to really appreciate this conversation because I'm also a big Ayurveda fan and proponent. I love to speak about how important it is, even as a yoga therapist, that we understand more about Ayurveda for it to be specific and effective.
Yeah.
So, yes, I would like to start with the question, when did your yoga journey start, and when did you start to think or feel that you needed to move in some deeper understanding of yoga?
Sure. Yes. So my yoga journey started in about 2004. At that time, I was a model. I was modeling in Thailand, and I met a yoga teacher who was a model as well. And suddenly I just felt inspired. There was this feeling inside like, oh, wow, I'm so curious. I want to try it. I want to do it. And I was at that time suffering I had scoliosis for a long time since I was a child. So I had a lot of back pain, like shoulders and neck and lower back, that pelvic area. Tension in my body, and of course I had vata imbalance, but we'll talk about it more later, but I had no idea. But yes, there was a lot of tension and stiffness, and I got inspired and I just decided to give it a go. And so literally I just went to a bookstore actually and I bought a book on yoga. It was just random. I just judged the book by its cover and just picked this Ashtanga primary series book that just had really pretty pictures, and I had no idea about the yoga styles at that time. I didn't know anything about it. I just thought, okay, this looks good, I'm just gonna do it. And I committed to practicing every day in the morning for at least a month. This is when I went to Philippines, and I was practicing every morning with the book. And of course I practiced in my own pace. I didn't do it the way that usually Ashtanga classes are held. I was just doing what I could in a more gentle way. And I started to feel really good. I started to experience already some transformation, and not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. There was this connection that started to be made. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was traveling to different countries. And so I started to attend classes. I was invited to classes, and then I attended in all different countries, all different yoga studios and gyms, whatever I could find it where I was doing it. And sometimes I skipped my practices, but literally this is when the journey started. So for years and years I was seeking to do yoga everywhere I was, until I became a yoga teacher about 3 years ago here in Rishikesh, where I am now, by the way. in India. Yes.
It became a passion.
It became a passion. And I think initially it's interesting that I seeked yoga more as a therapy, right? So before I even became a yoga teacher and then Ayurveda yoga therapist, I already just naturally and intuitively was drawn to it to help myself with my aches and pains and emotional disturbances, mental disturbances. So I felt after each practice, it's just somehow I felt more wholesome. I felt more balanced, more calm, even though all these other things were still happening in my life, right? But every practice, there was transformation that happened. After each practice, there was this feeling I left something behind and something new is here, and it just feels more expansive. Became like a lifestyle. But after I became a yoga teacher, I really embraced the yogic lifestyle, not just in terms of asana practice, because we talk about yoga, people refer it mainly to asana practice, which is the postures, the physical aspect of it. But I'm talking about lifestyle now, more about the yamas and niyamas, so the social, the personal codes of conduct and behavior. And this is rarely spoken in classes because, we're used to just come for that workout. But yoga is not just that physical part. The physical part is just one aspect of it. I
think that is changing, that more and more people, especially if we practice longer, we want to understand more, we go into the philosophy. But that's where the healing comes from. It's not so much the physical, but everything else.
Yes, everything, when it comes together, that is where the real healing happens. So we start maybe from one aspect. That's how we get invited onto this path. And that could be different for everyone, right? For me, it was that therapeutic part, the physical, and then all the other aspects were just, you can't do one without the other. It will just happen naturally. If you practice with dedication, it just happens. It opens up all these other channels, if that makes sense.
Channels, insight.
Yes.
I think a lot of people come to yoga and just feel at home somehow, or connected to something deeper within themselves, which they knew unconsciously was there, but didn't have access to.
Exactly. I think everybody knows on some subconscious level, somewhere deep inside, there's more to it than just physical existence. And so people who come to yoga, they start to experience it more and more. And then, yes, like you said, they go into like philosophy and to deep understandings of what it is all about, and leading towards that self-realization.
I just remember my yoga teacher training. We had a really good we had different teachers, and she was a 65-year-old lady, and she'd been practicing yoga and meditation and breath work since she was 20. So it was really rich and really deep. And we just did the mornings, we did 1 hour of breath work, 1 hour of meditation, and then mindfulness throughout the whole day. Weren't allowed to speak to each other. So we did a kind of vipassana the first half of every day. And it was just so deep. And I didn't even want to do the asana anymore. I just wanted to go more into the breath work, meditation. So beautiful.
Yeah, I can relate to it. Once you're in it, you don't want to come out of it. It's just so peaceful in that state.
Then you get this. I've seen some people who just stay in the vipassanas or stay in this bliss world. They don't want to leave. And then it becomes escapism. I think I had a period of this as well, quite a long period. And then it was like, okay, I have to come back to reality.
Yeah, true. Because I can totally relate to that, because you just want to be kind of, secluded from the world, but we're part of the world, and we're here for a mission, for a purpose. And definitely, it is important to be in this world, but not of it. So to have the capacity to still be in this physical reality, but remember our true identity and remember our true being. And so living from that space, that's the hardest part. I think going to Himalayas and meditating in a cave sounds really lovely, but the true test, I think, happened when you're in this real world and you're still trying to live from that authentic and soulful space.
So to have integrity in day-to-day life.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Okay, so can you tell the audience, our listeners, what is the difference between just yoga therapy, and Ayurvedic yoga therapy? Would you?
Yeah, sure. Yes. So when we think of, when I will try to explain it with less rambling as possible, being a Vata, I can get carried away. So when I'm just going to speak from my personal experience, because initially I got on the path of yoga. So I was practicing yoga even after I became yoga teacher. I was very dedicated to my yoga practice. And that was more about self realization. So the yogic path is all about realizing this self as a spark of the divine, or as the soul, as part of everything. So you come into that space of knowing yourself as one with everything, and having that experience, not just intellectually, but experientially. So all this yogic path, they lead to that self-realization. And has a lot to do with that state of meditation that leads there. So when you think of all the yogic practices and the 8 limbs of Ashtanga yoga, everything is leading towards that one goal, which is enlightenment, or that self-realization with God, with the divine, whatever you want to name it. With yoga therapy, which is more about that part of yoga, that aspect that is healing. Right? When we think about our pancha koshas, I'd say the layers of existence of ourselves. So we can't look at ourselves as just like physical bodies plopping along, right? Like we are not just physical bodies, even though we do tend to, like humanity in general, we tend to identify ourselves as these physical beings, but we're so much more. We have all these other layers to ourselves, these other bodies, right? So there's this physical layer that will go back to earth when we die. So that's that matter of what the body is made of, right? And then there was this.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the gross body, and then there is the pranic body, the emotional body. So the more subtle aspect, where that prana, that life force energy is flowing through us, that makes us actually move and do things, because it makes us feel alive. Without the life force, we will be dead, right? There'll be nothing there.
One thing I just like to say to people to illustrate this is, you can go 3 weeks without food, you can go 3 days without water, and you can go 3 minutes without breath. So it's this vital body that is
exactly.
Yeah.
Beautiful illustration. Yes. So without the breath, there's not much gonna happen for nothing much is gonna be going on. Yes, that's very true. So there's that aspect of ourselves, that prana, that life force energy that's running through us. And then there is the mental body. So the mental aspect of ourselves, our mind, right? So our thoughts, that's where our thoughts are. That's where our beliefs are, the conscious, subconscious mind, right? So that's where it's all stored. Mm-hmm. And then there is the intellect part. So that higher self aspect of ourselves that is able to discern what is right or wrong for ourselves. So we take the information and we're able to process it in that space, that intellect body. And then there is the body of bliss, we would say the soul aspect of ourselves, that the one that never changes. So the one that is forever living, and the one that accumulates all the experiences here on earth. So there's all these aspects. So when I think of yoga therapy, I think, okay, there has been something that happened in one of these bodies that led the other. So these bodies are interconnected. They are all intertwined. So let's say if you have something happen, some traumatic experience happen, and you might have some belief systems set because of that experience in your mental body that leads you, that is maybe just incorrect thought, right? The thought can be incorrect. The belief could be not even true, but you might be believing something about yourself. And so we might say it's a limited belief. And then that translates into the pranic body. So the energy is not anymore flowing freely in the body the way it's supposed to flow. Mm-hmm. There's some blockage, energetic blockage that happens. And that we can see in our chakras, in our energetic wheels, right? And so then, if not corrected, it can lead to the physical manifestation. So things start to happen in that area on a physical level. And this is when we can experience disease and pain and all sorts of conditions with the physical body. So, individual who may not know about these bodies and how it works, they might think, oh, the disease just happened to me, just randomly happened, like suddenly I just got this pain. And so they might just look at just one aspect of themselves. But when I think of yoga therapy, I think of looking at it holistically and thinking, okay, something happened prior to that. There's all these other things that could be a lifestyle that was leading to it. There could be a traumatic experience. There could be an accident. There could be something that led to it with the thought patterns, even from past lives. Sometimes it could be so strong with us that led to some condition, something happened within the body that manifested as this physical ailment. So yoga therapy helps to bring the body, bring all these bodies, these 5 bodies into balance, so we can work on all the levels. And the best of all, if the therapist is really good, to guide to the cause, the root cause of where it might, what could have led to that happening. How can we correct this with the physical postures, with meditation to help the mind? How can we correct this with the proper breathing exercises to help the energy to run freely and to also calm the mind? Can work on the belief system. So it's a very holistic approach. And when Ayurveda comes into place, it's even better. It's even better because it's like next level. It's next level. It's because then we look, because Ayurveda is this healing part of yoga, right? So it's this part, it's the science of life. It's, yes, were you going to say something?
I just wanted to say something, because what I've discovered, I've been writing a book about emotions and trying to break it down into koshas. And what I've understood over this whole process, it's been about 3 years, is the missing link, even between yoga therapy and when you don't use Ayurveda, is Ayurveda really looks at tamas. Tamas becomes the 5 elements. And because most of yoga and the spiritual texts of yoga all talk about transcending the body, whereas Tantra and Ayurveda are about caring and honoring the body and working with the body. So it's body positive. And I think that's the big key to love ourselves. And that we have this in patriarchy and the Western society, we're always trying to suppress and manage and control this body and everything that's physical. And that's what's so destructive to our soul, because this is part of our soul. It's an expression of our soul. Yeah.
I love it. I love what you said. It's beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps all over myself right now.
It's so beautiful, and the body is so amazing. And we just need to, like you said, you explained it so beautifully too, all these koshas and how one affects the other and how it has a ripple effect from the mind, from the beliefs, all the way to disease in the body. And that it could be, it's probably, well, it is, we say in Ayurveda, the samprapti, the disease process, which has probably been going on for decades or years before we actually see it in the body. So
exactly. I love what she said. It's exactly like this with Ayurveda. It does look at the body. And when you think about it, even if you want to achieve that enlightenment or that state of oneness, if your body is really sick, you are not able, it's impossible. You're just gonna, and this is what I experienced, when my health started to deteriorate before I discovered Ayurveda and started this healing process. I couldn't carry on my mission into the world. I couldn't go on and explore, what that self-realization or anything, because my body was aching so much that it clouded my mind. It clouded my emotions. I was feeling really depressed because of the pain. I was feeling very foggy in my mind because everything was affected in the body. And so it was very hard to sit even in meditation. It was really difficult to even get myself into the position to even do anything about it. Because the body was saying, hello, I'm here too, and you can't dismiss me. You can't just think of the spiritual terms and forget that I'm here and I'm the vessel and I'm here to carry you through with your mission. You need to pay attention to me just as much. So when the Ayurveda came into picture and I started to understand how important it is to heal the body with Ayurveda, so with correct food, with correct thought patterns as well, with correct environment, with correct daily routine, and also do the cleanse of all the toxins that accumulate in the body. And these channels in Ayurveda, they're called shrotas. these energy channels that, again, when the energy is not flowing freely, the disease happens. So Ayurveda works with herbs and spices and massages, and it's huge, the ways that you can heal yourself with Ayurveda. And so only when I started to implement that and feel better in my body, suddenly my mind was more clear and I could really carry on with my mission to help other people. Otherwise, I would be still in bed. And what use would it be to achieve any kind of self-realization, enlightenment, when I'm not good to help anybody else because I'm so unwell in my body? So it is incredibly important to include Ayurveda, to have that holistic and natural approach to health and well-being, and be the part of that healing process as well.
Yeah, wonderfully said. It's very concise what you said, and you got straight to the point. Beautiful. So what would you say to listeners? What is important for listeners to think about Ayurveda? How does it work? Or what are some aspects that we can think about? So for example, I always say to people, look at the seasons and live with the seasons. Honor your body. If you're tired in winter, sleep more. In spring, eat the foods that are growing outside. So it would be green leafy vegetables and things like this.
Yes. So the Ayurvedic topic is just so huge. All the things you could implement. I can only scratch the little surface of it now, like a tiny bit, because it's just such a vast.
One tip for our.
One tip. Okay. I would say, if it was just one tip, learn what your constitution is, Ayurvedic constitution, and what is your current dominant element. So the present dominant element is what you might say is either your vakriti or your prakriti. So I'll just quickly explain. Vakriti is your constitution that you've been conceived with, and it stays with you for the rest of your life. So you're born with it, you're conceived with it, and till the rest of your life, you're going to have the same Ayurvedic constitution. So that could be vata, pitta, or kapha, and a certain combination of these elements in different percentage, I would say. For different people, it would look very different.
Listeners, what vata, pitta, kapha is?
Yes. I'll quickly explain. I'll go into it quickly. So so everything in the universe is made of 5 elements, including ourselves. Our body is part of the universe, right? And our mind, everything, who we are, we're all part of nature. Mm-hmm. So we're also made of these 5 elements. And these elements are fire, water, earth, air, and ether, or space. So when the 2 of the elements come together, they create the force or humor. And so when air and ether come together, they create the force that's called vata. Okay, when fire and water join together, they form pitta. And when earth and water join together, they form kapha. Mm-hmm. So, and you can look at it as in terms of your human constitution, and everywhere in nature, the seasons, everything that exists has this, everything. Yes, everything has these elements and have these vata, pitta, kapha humors, or they call doshas as well. So when we are conceived, one of these elements is more dominant. It's present in nature more dominantly. So that will determine what is our dominant element is at the time of conception. And that carries throughout our life. But when we are born, and then we get exposed to our environment, depending where we live and what kind of environment we live in, what kind of experiences we have through life, what happens to us, what food we eat, what thoughts we think, it all determines
also our relationships, people.
Yes, people, family, absolutely.
Our work, our schooling, friends.
Everything, yes, friends, everything that happens after. So Vikriti literally means what came after. That's the translation from Sanskrit. So what came after, and so that usually when you think about the nowadays world, it's far from being for our nobody really well, not nobody, but less people on earth know about their constitution when they're born. Their parents don't really tell them, hey, you know what, I need to make sure, you have this right food to eat, because this knowledge has been lost.
I do it with my daughter. I really
perfect.
And she knows.
So this is, she knows, right?
She understands the humors and her dosha.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really nice. And then it's easy for her too.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing to hear. I love hearing this, that you're educating your child, because I wish someone educated me, but maybe I wouldn't have. Yes. So now that's what I'm doing, basically. I want people to be aware that, living according to your constitution, according to your nature, would eliminate all this disease, all these conditions that we suffer from. Because when this imbalance happens, it happens because of this incorrect lifestyle, incorrect thought patterns, incorrect foods that we consume, the way we consume them as well, the way our relationships are. All of this has an effect. So when we understand what exactly we need specifically, then you start living according to your specific needs, according to your constitution. Then you bring your body, you bring your consciousness, everything comes into balance. And the reason I say most of the times we are imbalanced afterwards is because of that not knowing how to live, right? How to think, how we've been conditioned so heavily from childhood that we just do it automatically, and we've been bombarded by a lot of media information about like this diet, that diet, and it's all like one size fits all kind of mentality. Yeah. And we think, oh, just because apples are considered to be good, it doesn't mean that eating a raw apple is good for everyone. For example, for Vata, it's actually not very good to eat a raw apple all the time. It has to be cooked with spices. So knowing that can help a person, but thinking just because it's an apple and it's natural, it doesn't still mean that everybody should be eating apples every day. It's just a silly example, but it's true. There's all these different ways that if you have different kind of constitution or you have different imbalance, to correct that imbalance, you need to bring in the specific opposite qualities of that imbalance. So if you got, for example, Vata imbalance, you would need to bring the opposite qualities. So Vata is air and ether. So you need to bring some earth and some water and some fire into it. So you need to ground it to the earth, because you're all up in the air.
Nourish and fill it up.
Nourishing, yes. Yes, exactly. Have warmth, have that stability, have that security that earth has, that holding. It's just an example. There is more to it, but just to give an idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's hard to explain the one thing, but I think what you say, it's important, is knowing your nature. What is your true nature? Your prakriti.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And so self-knowledge, no?
Yes, self-knowledge and implementing that knowledge. I think that's another thing, because knowing it is great, but if you're not actually doing something about it and you're not implementing the practical part of it, so it would be very hard. And also, if you have access, of course, doing the yoga practices that are designed for your specific, to correct your specific element. And if you have access, going to do panchakarma, the cleanse. I've done it in India, and that's, I believe, it was such an important part of my healing, is to clear. So whatever imbalance you have, doing panchakarma will help to eliminate the raising force. So if Pitta or Vata or Kapha is too raised, it accumulates in the parts of the body where the seat of it is. So for Vata, for example, it's the colon, the large intestine, the hip area, the pelvic area. So doing the cleanse that help to eliminate that excess Vata, it automatically releases all these other conditions associated with Vata imbalance. So it could be that stiffness in the body, it could be anxiety, it could be all these other elements that are associated with Vata imbalance. They go away as well as a result of it. So if you have an opportunity to do it, I would definitely suggest doing it also as a part of the healing process and knowing the self in that way, and then implementing the program that's right for you, for your element.
I've never done a panchakarma. I used to work in a clinic in Berlin where we would give panchakarmas, but they were much shorter. They were about 5-day panchakarmas. But yeah, I've heard a lot and I've seen a lot of change, and I would love to do it one day. But when I was interested in it, I was already pregnant and I haven't had a time where I could just say, okay, 10 days for me.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's just so transformational after doing, I stayed in the Ayurvedic hospital for 1.5 months in Kerala. And I'm not saying everybody has to stay that long, but I needed that time. But, you know, even doing 10 days or 2 weeks is also going to be very, very beneficial. So it's better to do it than not to do. But definitely, if there is a chance to do it, I would say definitely go for it, to have that time for your own self rejuvenation, and you just will feel so much more alive, have so much more energy as a result of it, because it just clears out all these unnecessary toxins and debris, and this element that was raised too high, it just clears it out.
Yeah, I see people walking away glowing and just feeling so much clearer and positive and able to handle things. It's really amazing to watch that change. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything, let's see. Yeah, I've asked this already. So is there anything you want to share with our listeners about yourself, your work?
Yes.
So I will put it all in the show notes so people can just relax and listen, but you can share whatever you want to talk about.
Yes, sure. Okay, well, in this case, I will just share my own experience and how I can help people. So through the programs that I offer, that's what helped me to heal. When I came to India, I came very sick. I came from Australia. I was very, very unwell. I had very imbalanced vata at that point. And I learned Ayurveda Yoga Therapy. I was studying in India, and then I got trapped here because of the lockdowns and COVID. So I stayed in India for more than a year, literally just healing myself with what I've learned with this program. Yeah, it ended up actually for my highest good. Who would have thought that something good can come out of the lockdowns and not being able to go anywhere? But that really helped me to heal myself using this knowledge that I've gained, this wisdom. So I was practicing like 2 hours of yoga every day myself, and eating the correct food, and just working on this on myself with these programs. So I'll just talk about the programs that now I offer to other people that help me heal as well. So these programs are designed, of course, once you find out what your dominant element is, or what your imbalance or balance is, your vakriti or your prakriti, then I can help to design the specific program to help. So if you have any health conditions, it helps to address that. And if there is an imbalance, it helps to address that particular imbalance with the 5 pillars of this Ayurveda Yoga Therapy. And so the first pillar is dharana, which is intention setting. So the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice, that you keep with you throughout the whole practice, this visualization that helps to create a specific feeling in the body, and that feeling is what is going to help to balance that element. So for example, vata, it could be grounding and feeling of security, that earthiness, right? That feeling of being down to the earth. And for pitta, it could be that feeling of relaxation in the solar plexus area where the seat of pitta is, and that balancing between engaging and relaxing, so you avoid these burnouts. And for kapha, it's uplifting. It's that feeling of lifting off the ground, of energizing that kapha needs, because kapha is all earth. It needs some air and ether, so lifting off. and energizing, and that feeling of
lightness,
enthusiasm and lightness. Exactly. So you create with the visualization, you create this specific feeling that you would like to create that helps to balance. And then the second pillar is pranayama, which is the breathing exercises. And again, that is specifically designed for what that element we're trying to work with. And then it goes into vinyasa, which is, so now that we've created, we expanded the prana in the body with pranayama practice, we channelize the prana with the vinyasa. So it's the combining of breath and movement, again, specifically designed for vata, pitta, or kapha, and it has the levels of beginner, intermediate, advanced. So the programs have these levels. So you start with the basic level, then you can move to the intermediate, then you can move to advanced. It's a progression. With all the practice, all the pillars, I mean. Then the fourth one is asana, and asana is the postures. And so we continue to channelize the prana, and we also, this is when you become aware of all these imbalances. When you go through the postures, you become aware of what is happening with your body. So the asanas help to process this, to allow this energy to flow freely, to clear out any of those blockages that we're working with. And so the asanas
embody your intention, I imagine.
Yes, embody the intention. Exactly. And the intention and the breathing stays throughout the practice. So when you have that intention and you've created a specific type of breath that's designed for your element, you carry that with you throughout the practice. And so you embody that when you practice your asana as well. And the asana also includes, it would be according to your element. And also, if you have any therapeutic needs, for example, if you have like digestive issue or insomnia or stiffness or lower back pain, whatever that is, it also addresses a specific condition that you are trying to relieve through the asana as well. And the fifth one is dhyana, which is meditation. And this is, I guide through a visualization that, again, embodies that initial feeling. So now instead of just visualizing the feeling, you actually feeling it in your body. So you become that. For vata, you would become that feeling of security. So you embody that feeling of groundedness. And pitta, it would be the relaxation, and kapha, it would be that enthusiasm, that lifting off. So that feeling that you created, you embody that. And so it covers all the areas, and it works holistically. And also I include the diet and the lifestyle and daily routine recommendations, again, for vata, pitta, or kapha, because it is very, very important to include that as a part of the program as well, because it has tremendous impact according to Ayurveda.
Yeah.
Yes. So it works on all the levels.
Now in research, they're all coming with the microbiome and how important the gut health is for the mental health. But it's something that Ayurveda has been saying for
thousands of years. Literally, yes. Very, very important. What you just said, I think a lot of people probably will find it helpful too, that it is true that gut health is everything, and everything depends, not just mental space, but all the other organs, the blood, everything gets affected. And immunity as well, the immune system. Like for vata, it's the hardest because vata usually suffers from the lowest immunity because it's just because of constitution. Yes, exactly.
Moving from one extreme
to the next. Yes. So gut health, and that's the seat of vata. So for people who have raised vata, it's like they need to work extra hard on strengthening the immune systems and the digestive fire, the agni. And that all can be done through the food as well. Yes, very important.
Wow, so it's a very comprehensive program. That's
wonderful,
Alla. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know how comprehensive it is.
Yeah. I think it's just we don't know how simple things can be so powerful.
That's just normal.
It's India experience. If
Life.
there's no beeping, you're not in India. Yes, it's full of life. It's full of life. The horning, the beeping, the cows and the bulls walking on the streets. Yes, it's all happening.
Yeah.
It's so vibrant. I love it.
Yeah, I miss India. Okay, so
so would you like me to guide people through a short meditation or some breathing exercises?
Yeah, something simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe I will just guide through just a simple pranayama practice, just to help um, to find that stability, that sense of balance, that security in the body. And then I will just guide through a gentle mindfulness practice after that. Okay. All right. So just so we can come into the space of finding a comfortable seated position, or you can sit on a chair or against the wall, maybe sitting on a cushion. You can lie down, whichever is comfortable where you're at. Just make sure you're in a space that you're not gonna get disturbed for the next 10 minutes. And keeping your spine long and straight, your shoulders relax. Slowly closing down your eyes. And just coming into that space of stillness. Allow your belly to soften and relax. And if you wish, you can place one hand on your lower belly and one hand on your heart area, if that's comfortable. And just start to connect with your breath. Taking a slow breath in through the nose. And a slow, deep breath out through the nose. Inhale. And exhale. I'm going to count the breath. And just follow my guidance. Inhale on 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep breathing now with your own count. As you inhale, slowly counting to 4. And as you exhale, slowly counting to 4. On each inhalation, feel the belly expanding, middle chest expands, upper chest lifts, and on each exhalation, upper chest releases, middle chest contracts, and belly falls. And just taking a couple more breaths in this manner. Releasing any tensions any anxieties and stresses on each exhalation. And feel your whole body with life force energy on each inhalation. And now slowly, just noticing any sounds that you can hear, any sounds in the distance. Just allow your awareness to move from one sound to the next. You can release your hands and place them on your lap or alongside your body. Noticing the sounds in your room, the sound of my voice guiding you through the practice. The sound of your breath. The sound and the sensation of your heartbeat. And slowly bring your awareness to the surface of your skin. And just notice the temperature of your skin, the feeling of the fabric of clothes against your skin. Feel the texture, the sensation. Maybe the air gently caressing the surface of your skin. Noticing light and shade. And slowly bring your awareness to your mind. And begin to notice your thoughts. See your thoughts arising in your mind and floating away like the clouds in the sky. We're just observing the thoughts, no judgment, not trying to change anything. Imagine you're witnessing from a space of an observer what is arising in your mind, acknowledging every thought, just letting it float away. Watching with curiosity, with detachment, realizing you're not your thoughts. You can observe your thoughts. You can watch them come and go. And slowly bring your awareness to the inside of your body. Look within yourself and notice how you're feeling. Whatever feeling that you experience, see if you can name it and allow the feeling to be there as it is. Again, just observing the feeling from a neutral space. See where in your body you're feeling this feeling. Where is it located? Is it on the inside or on the outside? Does this feeling have a shape or a color? Is it still or is it moving? Just see what you can witness. No matter what this feeling is, just give it space. Give it an opportunity to express itself. And see if you can hold the space for this feeling, bringing unconditional loving presence to this feeling. Hold it. Feeling presence like you would hold a little baby or a puppy. And again, notice how you can watch your feeling, how you're not your feeling. You can observe it and allow it to be as it is. And now, very slowly, you can again bring your awareness back to your breath. Just noticing the air going in and out of your nostrils, like the ocean waves coming and going. Inhaling the air going into the nostrils and exhaling the air coming out. And just observe your breath now. You're not trying to change your breath. You're just watching the breath. Watching the sensation of the breath coming into your nostrils and coming out on the exhalation. And just stay in this space for a couple more breaths. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to wiggle your fingertips and your toes. Maybe stretch your body in opposite directions. And slowly open your eyes, coming back to here and now. Welcome back.
Thank you, Alla. That was beautiful.
My pleasure.
Calming.
My absolute pleasure.
No, this was really wonderful. Is there anything else you would like to leave people with? I feel very calm now.
Oh, that's good. That's the whole point. Just have that. Just what I want to leave people with is maybe just whatever feeling you created with this meditation. See if you can carry that with you throughout your day, whatever you're at now. Just remembering to come back to that mindfulness with everything that you do, whether it's eating your food, whether it's going to work, whatever it is you're doing. See if you can bring that presence and also that sense of detachment from realizing that you can observe your feelings, you can observe your thoughts, so not being identified with them, remembering that you're not that. And so living the life in this meditative state. So just practicing that, not only when you sit for meditation, but with your everyday life, whatever it is you're doing, bringing that aspect of mindfulness, of awareness to that activity that you're doing. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
It's really lovely to meet you and speak with you. And I will put your details and your links in the show notes for people if they want to reach out to you and find out more about you. Yeah?
Thank you. It was such a pleasure chatting with you, Shira. I loved it.
I hope to meet you in real life soon one day.
Me too.
Yeah, please put some flowers in the Ganga for me. Yeah,
I will absolutely do. I'll do it right now. I will go to Ganga and I will put some flowers just for you.
Thank you.
Done. Consider it's done.
Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon and weekend. And yeah.
Thank you. You too.
I'll send you the link when it's up. Yeah, it'll be up next week.
Okay. Wonderful. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Much love to you, Shira.
You too.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Bye.